Guys, how are you guys doing? We are back finally, man. Hold on, I gotta echo, what's popping? How are you guys doing, man? Yes, I know, that's me. That is me. It is me. What is going on? How are you guys doing today, man? I know we were doing a live stream before, but, you know, they wanted to shut your boy down. It's a little annoying, but it is what it is. It is what it is. So there's not really much you can do about something like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I can't really do much about that. So, but welcome, guys. We're going to be talking about the event itself, the products that dropped. There's a lot to talk about, actually. So if you guys are tuning in for the first time, welcome. We're going to be getting started in a second. So wait for everybody else to get notified that we're doing this thing right now. But yeah, today was an interesting one. Today was an interesting one, to say the least. Kaden, what up, bro? How are you? So before we get into it, make sure you guys give me your thoughts in the chat. What were your guys' favorite part of the actual event, products that you guys are interested in? I'm actually a tad bit, what's the word? I'm not whelmed. Some things really excited me. Other things, because of what I'm looking for in a product, I was kind of like, I wish we had this. But we're so in early days of some of the stuff that I would want, where, you know, it's just it's a time thing right now. You know what I'm saying? Double A said M1 iPad Pro. iPad finally can replace laptop. I mean, bro, we're going to talk about some of these things. We're going to talk about some of these things because I think there's a big misconception about replacement, and when that took place. We're going to talk about that for sure. But I like that. M1 iPad Pro, nice. That 12.9 inch definitely is really interesting. I'm not going to lie. It's actually really interesting. We're going to be talking about, obviously, iMAC. We're going to be talking about, obviously, Apple TV. AirTags was pretty interesting as well. It was super condensed event. The big thing is obviously the iMacs, right? That's obviously the big announcement. Jeremy, bro, the direction was crazy, Jer. Like, the production value is so ridiculous. But I like where everything is going. Here's my thing, right? The biggest thing about the event for me is where the iPad and the iMac are going, right? Like, I think the biggest thing for me is going to be what does an iMac Pro look like? What does that look like? Because the M1 Mac Mini is a beast, right? So what does a higher performing processor from Apple look like? Because we know the M1 is a really dope chip, but it also has certain limitations, right? So what does that look like? What do higher tier iMacs look like? Even if we got an M1X iMac. But let's get into some of these things really quick, because some of the biggest things for me was actually in the iMac. The Apple TV had some really cool stuff, especially utilizing your phone as essentially a spider for your display to set color. That's wild, actually. That's actually kind of crazy. I wonder when the 27 iMac M1 is coming. I know, that's what I was thinking too. I was like, okay, because obviously this is a smaller screen. This is 24 inches. So we're up from, you know, the 21, so we're 24 inches. So it's a nice screen size. But definitely not something that I would use as a replacement for my 27 inch. I don't know if I would want to go smaller, but we're going to get one in the studio and see what that's really about. But if you guys look here, so keep in mind, the prices that you guys see here are here in here in Australia. They're not in the US. So let me just switch. I'll switch in a second. I want to see what it's like here, because this is where I live. I live in Australia. So we have an 8-core, 7-core CPU, GPU situation. It's very similar to the Mac Mini and the iPad, and the MacBook Air, that configuration. 8-core, 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 and these I'm assuming is just going to be storage capacity between the two. So we have no gigabit Ethernet on the base computer. And if you guys saw, that Ethernet actually comes in the power cord, which is really clever. I like that. Depending on your scenario, it could be a little bit more annoying, but I think in most cases, it's more convenient to have that at the, closer on the ground. So it's pretty interesting. Jeremy says this 24-inch perfect for an edit station. In Post House are great as an edit station for live broadcast. Yo, that's actually real talk. I'm with you on that one. So we're going to jump into this model here just because I'm really curious to see what exactly we have on here. I can't select it at all though, because it doesn't give me any options. Currently unavailable. So I can't even look at... what it's configurable to. Okay, so we got up to 2 terabytes. Okay, price $18.99. Okay, cool. What's the RAM? Memory, 8, configurable up to 16. So we can go up to 16 gigs. Up to 16 gigabytes. Interesting. Obviously we got the Retina display. Cool. Really interesting that they brought some of that technology from the XDR to the iPad, but we still don't have it here on the iMac. So the only thing I can think of is 27-inch or iMac Pro. We're going to get something like that. I'm assuming because the iPad Pro is a Pro model that we'll probably won't see that XDR display until we get a Pro iMac, is what I'm assuming. And one of the other things that was really interesting on this is we didn't really get any, we're not going to get anything until we test it, right? As far as like, is the M1 in the iMac more powerful than the M1 in the MacBook Pro, in the MacBook Air? We don't really know that, so we will probably figure that out later. Display port. So these are the Thunderbolt 2 and USB 4 ports. So, which is interesting. So we have Thunderbolt and /USB 4. Those are the two on the side. And then we have the 2 USB 3.1 10 gigabits. Interesting. Thunderbolt 2, HDMI, DVI, VGA using adapters sold separately. Okay. So that's interesting. Gigabit Ethernet, 2 USB 3 ports up to 10 gigabits per second. Okay. Does have a headphone jack, and it's actually on the side of the computer, which is way more convenient. What we do not have, though, is an SD card slot. SD card slot is gone. No more SD card slot. Now, I'm not sure if the current gen iMacs had them. I know my iMac Pro does. So that's just something that, I'm noticing. So we may have to get an adapter for that if you use SD cards. Magic Keyboard input, obviously. Now, we do have Touch ID on the keyboard, which is awesome. That's actually pretty interesting, so I'm cool with that. Jeremy said they should have made them all 4 Thunderbolt 4 combo parts. I wonder if it's a bandwidth situation with the M1. Yep, you said the same thing I did. I think it's the same thing that we ran into with the MacBook Pro, where it's like, okay, you can do one display, but because of, you can connect an XDR display to it, but it just doesn't have the throughput. I'm assuming that's a bandwidth limitation for the M1. But, future's long. We could get something more with this as we, progress with the Apple Silicon. Bluetooth 5.0, cool. Wi-Fi 6, that's obvious, right? We knew that was going to be coming. Question, what colors do you guys like the most? I'm really digging that blue. I'm really digging the blue. That is where I'm going, I think, for the tester that I'm going to grab. The blue I like. The silver, the silver is cool. I feel like the silver and the white situation, that's a classic look for Apple. So that might be a good way to go. Again, I think one of the coolest things about this was the Ethernet port in the power brick. I thought that was mad clever. And this is the introduction to MagSafe, by the way. The reintroduction to MagSafe charging, which hopefully we get back on the next generation of the MacBook Pros. This could be huge. Guys, this could be actually massive. This is the first time we're getting a MagSafe style charger back into a Mac. let alone it being the iMac, which is awesome. So pretty dope. Saving space gray or matte black for the Pro version. Oh, for sure. You already know that's what's going down. And I'm okay with that. My biggest thing, and because a lot of people were asking when this comes out, when the new iMacs come out, or why haven't I gotten the newer iMacs, because a lot of testers have shown that the new iMacs outperform the 10-core iMac Pro. And in certain circumstances, it does. And for what I do, it would be the case. However, the challenge is I/O. The iMac Pro has 4 USB 3 ports and 4 Thunderbolt 3 ports, plus 10 gigabit Ethernet, plus SD card slot, plus audio. So I have more I/O on the iMac Pro. So even though the new computers may be more powerful, I use every single port on my computer, every single port. So, and if they're always plugged up, I don't unplug anything. They're always plugged up, and I need them all. So that's the challenge. But it's pretty wild. Imagine if the iMac will eventually have a built-in battery as a backup battery for power outages. Like, bro, that would be amazing. That would be amazing. I mean, think of it this way. If there was a way, because you could low key, hypothetically, you could low-key get some kind of brick that you can run the M1 on because of how low power the M1 draws. You can get like a Belkin power adapter, hypothetically, have a power connector directly to the MagSafe and be Gucci, and literally have a portable iMac. You low-key probably could do that. I'm not sure exactly how they're going to do it, but that could be a situation. Crazy TV says, we talking about all this tech while I still only have an iPhone 6. Look, honestly though, bro, iPhones, I think smartphones in general, I'll speak specifically for iPhone. Apple supports software for so long that I usually recommend people, if your phone isn't broke, you should be good for at least, 3 years at least. You know what I'm saying? So this depends. Jeremy said big brain moves, bro. There's some interesting application though for this for sure. But the low voltages, that's the biggest thing for me as far as the power draw. That's kind of wild. And having the power brick outside the computer, obviously the power supply is there. It's not in the computer, so they can get it really thin, which was like, oh, well, look, we can have this thing super small. It's like, yeah, but your power supply is not in the computer. That's why it's so thin. It's like the catch-22. It's like, oh, well, it has to plug into the wall anyways, right? Laptops plug into the wall anyways, so the power supply is outside of the laptop, which is why I'm saying, like, this is low-key. This low-key could be a portable scenario for the future. I agree with Jeremy wholeheartedly. There could really be something like that for sure. This is super interesting. Let me know, guys, if there was a way to get a power pack, not a wireless, but a portable power pack for an iMac. Would you do that, and would you take it on jobs? How could you use that on your balcony if you don't want to have an extension cord? Or this is actually pretty interesting. I don't know. I'm thinking outside the box. Now, what do you guys think about this new keyboard? I like the fact that we have Touch ID finally on a keyboard. It's been a long time coming. Right? I feel like the touch bar was one of those things where it was like, oh, this is really cool tech, and they just never innovated in a way that it was useful, and it never came to the Magic Keyboards, which is a telling sign of that technology going away for good. That was one of those things that, okay, it was cool in theory, but it just wasn't adopted well. I like the color match though. That's cool. But yeah, I mean, 16 gigabyte unified memory, that's the max on here. So we're gonna grab one when it gets available, test it out. We're gonna be running through its paces in editing specifically for me, because that's what I do as far as YouTube, content creator. We're gonna try streaming from it, things like that. And because of the lack of ports, can I use it as a streaming computer? That's my only concern at this point, is can I use it to stream from? For those that really want to do it. If you're connecting an Xbox, PS5, anything like that through an Elgato HD60 Plus, if you have a cam link, connected to a camera, if you have a mic connected, that's already three ports already, right? If you have a monitor, that's the 4th port. So I can't have 3 monitors plus there's things that I have to try to figure out. There's things I have to try to figure out to see if this is actually feasible as a streaming machine for what I use it for. But we're gonna try it, we're gonna test it. It worked on the iMac, on the Mac Mini. So we're gonna test and see if it can actually work on here. Best way for new iMac Pro. True, but I wanna test it out for people that may not have the money for an iMac Pro, right? We're gonna test it out for a regular usage case, right? A regular user. What is a regular user? A more common early entry YouTuber, Twitch streamer. Can they use this as a device to stream from, as their only device? That's more important. For myself, I know the iMac Pro is gonna be where I'm gonna end up landing for sure. But that doesn't mean that you can't use this for the majority of your workflow if you're a creative professional. And that's what we're gonna be testing out on the channel. So, yeah, I mean, that's definitely dope. View pricing, obviously we can't select the tiers and actually kind of spec anything out, which kind of sucks. I wish we could actually test that out. I'm curious though. Let's see. I'm gonna see if I could trade in real quick. Let's grab your, let's see. See, I don't want to put my serial number in here. We can't do that real quick. You know, I don't trust all that. I love you guys, but y'all ain't getting my information and my information. You know, actually, you know what? Let me try this. Let me see. I can go off screen real quick and see what that would be. Let me get my serial number real quick. You know, let's do that. Give me a second, guys. We're testing this. I just want to see what the trade-in would be on something like this. What? Which model do you have? Oh, so you can only trade in laptops? What? All right, we're gonna head to the US site really quick. Guys, if you guys are just now tuning in, first of all, welcome. We're testing out to see what it would be like if I traded in my current computer. But the Australia site only allows the trade-ins for laptops. So I wanna see what the trade-in value looks like for a desktop. That's actually really strange that I can't trade in my desktop. Let's see. iMac Pro, boom. And we have the what? 3 gigahertz, 10, boom. And we got the 1 TB, I believe. We got the 1 terabyte. Yes. Yes. Is your, yes, of course. Would you like to include a power adapter? I don't have the power adapter. Okay, so here we go, guys. Just so you guys are aware, Apple's quoting me that for my computer, if I traded in my iMac Pro right now, I can get $2,100 in trade-in. Right? Cream Ted said, WTF, is that iMac all about? Isn't the M1 iPad basic better, just smaller and a touchscreen? It just depends, right? Everything is going to be predicated on the software that you use. So in that scenario, it's really going to come down to that, right? So Jeremy said daisy chain. Talk about the connectivity. Yes, but I need a device that can daisy chain to it, and not all monitors daisy chain. Usually the monitor has to be at the end of the chain for Thunderbolt. So if I have, I don't have another device that daisy chains Thunderbolt 3, and that's my issue right now with some of that stuff. So the challenge with the Thunderbolt stuff and daisy chaining is the monitor has to be at the end of the chain. So if I don't have what's it called, hard drives that can daisy chain stuff, then it doesn't really work for me. The iPad doesn't run Mac OS yet. I don't think it's ever going to run Mac OS. I think the challenge right now is developing software that can, your G-Rate current daisy chain, yeah, but my G-Rate is only Thunderbolt 2. Thunderbolt. No, my daisy, no, I might be Thunderbolt. I don't think it's faster than Thunderbolt 2, actually. But yeah, but I mean, I don't need, I mean, even that, like I don't use my G-Raid rarely ever. I don't ever use it. It's never connected to my computer. I only connect it when I need it. So that in and itself doesn't really work for me. And that would just need to be connecting my drive. You know what I'm saying? That doesn't allow me to connect any other devices that I need. What I love is how us people in tech call anything a device. I mean, technically. My thought is that the iMac we saw is an SE version. 27-inch plus would be Pro Machine. At first glance, a new iMac we just seen looks like it was made for a kid's bedroom. I mean, you have to understand the idea of personal touch is huge, right? People want things that they can make their own. The original iMac in 2007, 2008, when Steve came, and in 97, 98, when Steve came back, was colors, right? So it's definitely, something like that where you have that ability, but it's really going to come down to, what can you, what do you like in your space? What do you like in your space? Rick James said, I missed the whole event since I'm at work. Got to recap. Yeah, I mean, recap's going to be pretty short, but pretty solid. The event was pretty solid. It was a pretty solid event. But $12.99, we got $14.99 for the 256. 512 is $16.99. I mean, if you're going for a computer, and to be honest, a terabyte to me is really where you kind of want to be on a desktop machine, unless you're okay with rocking hard drives externally, which is no big deal. But again, personal preference. It doesn't seem to be a big enough design improvement since 2008 design, in my opinion. The iMac? Are you serious? It's a completely different computer. It's not like a shell replacement. It's completely new. Like, it's completely new. The only thing that reminiscent is the actual the ethos around it, of it being a hinge and a screen, but it looks nothing like it. The only thing I would say that looks like it, that's recognizable as an iMac, is the chin in the front. Like, that's really it. Like, I mean, if you look at the side, let me see if I can get better imagery. Let me see, overview. So, I mean, if you look at, this looks, just in the profile, right? Let's go to Mac, and let's go to 27, and so we go to 27-inch iMac, the current one. This is what the current iMac looks like, right? Right? So again, the traditional idea of an iMac, of a hinge and a screen, sure, right? But then you start looking at like what it actually looks like. You have it's like a bulge back. It's like thin and it tapers and it makes it a bulge in the back, right? The hinge itself is kind of hidden within the back. That's the back. Your plug is there. But I mean, that's essentially, I wish they had better, so Apple does a really good job at trying to make a computer look thin. So they film it at an angle to me. It looks like, oh, look how thin the edge is. Like, yeah, but it bulges in the back. So I wish they had, let's see tech specs. They probably have a side angle here, a side view. But they don't. They don't. I told you, they're so good at marketing. They're like, look, we're going to make sure that we can hide what the actual side profile of this thing looks like. But then when you look at this, like the side profile is completely different, like completely different. Let me see if I can pull up. I can probably pull up something on like Google or something like that, but it's not that serious. But yeah, the connector is fire though. Like the actually and then obviously you have the port on the side. You got your ports in the back, MagSafe right in the center. That's actually super fire. And that actually has obviously the Ethernet port in the back. I was really excited for it because I was thinking about buying my first iPad, but I don't know. What do you guys think? I mean, the iPad is crazy, and we'll get into that in a second. Studio quality mics, that's cool. That's cool. Speakers, all these things we're gonna have to test, right? It's great hearing this stuff, but when you start using it is really when it starts to come, starts to actually make sense. I really want to test DaVinci and Final Cut on this to see exactly how well it performs. That's really where I'm more excited about anything. But let's get into the next thing, which is Apple TV. The Apple TV was actually pretty fire. I'm pretty excited about this. I'm not going to lie. I'm going to be grabbing this. I love the new controller. One of the things about the Apple TV controller right now, while it's cool, it is a little, the swiping thing, it does not allow for finesse. You can tap on either side to do one by one, but it doesn't have a click. There's no satisfying click for the incrementals, right? You can click, but it's a button to select. It's not to go over one, right? So we have more of an iPod OG click wheel situation, which I'm kind of excited about. So they kind of went back in time to kind of pull some kind of, you know, hey, we're going to reach back and make it current. I like that a lot. One of the biggest things though for me on this, A12 Bionic, that's fire. So we're going to have great performance in this thing. Obviously all that HDR ability, but this is the sauce right here. Color balance. Being able to balance a display and create a color profile for your Apple TV based on, this is fire. This is fire. Like, oh, let me calibrate your display for the content that's gonna be coming from the Apple TV. Guys, like most people don't even know what this looks like or what this is, but people that are in like film or photo, like photographers, editors, know of things that calibrate your display. There's essentially it's a piece of technology that plugs into your computer and you put it on your display and it scans for the ambient light in your room and what the actual display color is coming out into the sensor, and then it adjusts the actual color display. This is dope. This is crazy, actually. What this shows me is, can Apple do this for their actual iMacs? Can they say, hey, we're gonna use color balance for your iMac so you can adjust your color balance on your iMac. This needs to come to the iMac ASAP. 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 Now, it may already do that with the True Tone. I'm not 100% sure if the True Tone is as accurate as something like this would be. It may be, I'm not 100% sure, so don't quote me on that, because it does have True Tone on the iMacs, but this is dope. This is super dope. Or if it's a connected display, because connected displays aren't affected by True Tone. So this could be really dope. So if you have a connected display to an iMac, you're like, hey, I want to connect, I want to monitor, I want to adjust my monitor's display. Monitor 1, I can use my iPhone to adjust it. That could be fire. I'm just saying that could be really dope. That's pretty fire to me. I like this quite a bit. But yeah, this is, I didn't get the Apple TV 4K. I still have the first gen Apple TV with the touch control. I don't have the 4K variant. This I'm gonna grab. This is dope. Like this is really, really dope. So that's pretty interesting to me. But again, I feel like that was the most interesting thing that I was like, wow, that was cool. Now, probably the craziest thing at the event for me is the iPad Pro. We have to talk about it. We have to talk about it. For a lot of you that has followed me over on my main channel, Absolutely Geeked, I did a test when the first iPad Pro came out and compared it to a MacBook Pro. And I did a video rendering test on it. And the iPad destroyed the MacBook Pro. Like, destroyed it. It wasn't even close. It was like half the time in rendering speed. So I was like, wow. The problem with the iPad was never its capability. It was always the software that Apple never developed for it. Hey, you can replace your computer with this. Well, how? Most people don't understand what that means. Most people don't even recognize that most of the computing that they do is actually on their phone. So they've been replacing their computer for the longest already. They do all their emails on here. They do all their connectivity with other clients and stuff like that. They video conference from their phones. Most people do the majority of their computing on their phones anyways. They don't think like, oh, well, you can't replace a computer with an iPad. Damn it, you've done it already with your phone. You did it already. You've done that already. So when it comes to replacing it, it was always like tech YouTubers or people that are into tech. They were like, oh, well, I can't use my specific piece of software on an iPad. I couldn't use Final Cut on my iPad. I can't use DaVinci Resolve on an iPad. I can't use, the real Photoshop on an iPad. And Apple did a huge disservice with not creating their Pro apps for iPad to show developers, hey, you can develop for this platform. I really think that was Apple's shortcoming in the iPad, was letting people know that you could actually use this for content creation. Use this in a professional environment. That was Apple's downfall, for sure. And I think, and to be completely fair, I think that's because Steve is no longer here. He understood in a way to show you why you needed something, why a product existed, versus, hey, this got this performance, that's dope, that's cool, but you have developers that have to spend millions of dollars, hundreds of millions of dollars in R&D to redo software that works on legacy x86 platform onto an iPad. That takes a lot of money. So unless they know for a fact it can run, they're not going to do that. Like, why would they do that? You have to prove the case. Luckily, some developers caught on that it was powerful enough, but it really didn't hit home until the M1 came out. We were like, oh, wow, you could do this on Apple Silicon. And it's like, yeah, but the architecture is the same as all the A series chips. It's just more powerful. But the architecture is the same. Like, you could have been doing this. And when the test mule for the M1 came out, the Mac Mini test mule for developers, it had the iPad processor in it. It wasn't the M1, it was an iPad processor in it running Mac OS Big Sur. Proves the point already. It could already do it. They just needed the software. So this is interesting, where you have a computer chip, an actual desktop computer chip that Apple makes in an iPad Pro. This is extremely interesting because for me, it's saying, Apple, I need you to create Logic Pro and I need you to create Final Cut Pro for the iPad. You needed to do this years ago. You need to do this now. This needs to be a need. If Blackmagic Design, or if you're listening to me, Blackmagic Design, listen to me. Please create a version of DaVinci Resolve that works on the iPad. That would be amazing. That would be incredible. Guys, like, I don't think you guys grasp how powerful this actually is. My main portable device is an iPad Pro. That's what I use. I got rid of a 15-inch MacBook Pro for an iPad Pro like 3 years ago. That's all I use portable wise. I've done live streams from this thing, connected my Mix P3 to it, audio directly into it, and I'm good. But this is interesting. This now has Thunderbolt. So we have Thunderbolt on an iPad for the first time. Now my biggest question is, can we import video and audio through that Thunderbolt port? Can I connect a camera now to my iPad and stream properly? I don't know. These are the questions that are running through my head. And the camera on this thing, guys, I've never been like, oh my God, let's film on my iPad, ever. But, I gotta scroll to it. I know y'all got a lot of things to talk about on here. This right here, the center stage feature is absolutely incredible. Jeremy said, I've been using my iPhone for photogrammetry. So being able to do it better on an iPad that's portable is insane. You can absolutely import. I mean, I'm talking about more so as like as a camera source, like saying, hey, let me use my, Pocket 6K and do a stream, but use my Pocket 6K camera versus my iPad camera. Not necessarily like import video. I'm talking about more so like using it as a camera source, bringing video in, like a feed in, into the device, not necessarily just bringing in files and stuff like that. Hey, Adonis, you keeping this video up? I have to get back to work. I will be keeping this up, by the way. But the center stage feature is incredible. Now, for those of you who don't know, I'm a part of a film team called Ismahawk, and we started using this new software called Around. And Around is like a better version, personally, of Zoom, but it has a very unique feature where it will use machine learning to keep you in frame as you move around. It's actually really clever. This does the same thing, but what it's doing is saying, hey, this is super wide, but we're not going to use the wide angle camera when you're doing streams like that. We're going to keep it tight, but we're going to use that extra room for when you move. So clever. It's so clever. My biggest question is, does it just work in particular software? Cream Ted says Mac software. Yes, it's Mac and it's only on Mac and PC, but it's awesome. Do the using iPad camera for mocap, especially with the new release of MetaHumans for bro? This guys, I'm telling you right now, there's some super dope application that you can use this iPad Pro for. And I know it sounds super dorky, like, oh, I could film with my iPad. This gets real interesting now, like as a real creative tool. I already thought the iPad was already a creative tool. People that know me know that I've been vouching for the iPad for years now. Like, yo, you guys just don't understand. When the software gets there, you'll get what I'm saying. But this is a whole different scenario. The whole different scenario. I mean, if I'm on YouTube doing a stream from my iPad and my camera can just move with me in the space that is dope. Guys, that's dope. That's a dope scenario. I mean, think of it this way. Even if you're using your iPad as a camera source for your stream, if I'm saying, hey, I don't have a camera, but I have an iPad and I have a computer, right? You can use your phone as a camera source. So hypothetically, could you use this center stage feature as a camera source for your actual stream through OBS? Could you do that? I'm gonna be testing out a lot of this shit, bro. This is so exciting to me. I'm actually really excited about this feature. It's automatically making you professional, great for YouTube. I mean, I don't wanna say making you professional, it's adding a level of texture, right? Like professional that's such a strange word, right? Like, but it's adding texture to your content that you would otherwise have to have, you know, a film crew to do, like an actual videographer or cinematographer to create that effect, or a slider with, you know, with tracking. You know what I'm saying? Like obviously this is a very finite space, right? Your camera can only it's only so wide, but very cool. What I want to know is there distortion at the ends? Because it is a wide angle lens. So how does it manage distortion as you move to the side? Very, very unique scenario. Very unique scenario. I love the feature though. I think this is probably one of the coolest features Apple has implemented in a very, very long time. That's super clever. We got to talk about the Liquid Retina display. The XDR though. The XDR display on an iPad. Guys, now let's keep it 1,000. The majority of people will not understand the benefits of this. This is an actual pro feature on an iPad Pro, right? Which I'm so about. This is one of those things where, you know, Apple likes to throw Pro around just for this more powerful devices, but it's not real. Like the iPhone 12 Pro, like how pro is it? Like how pro is it, bro? Like we're pro, but I still can't control my camera manually. Like how pro are we talking about? How pro are we talking about right now? We're pro, but I don't have an XDR display on. How pro are we talking about? You know, what level of pro are we talking about? This is one of those features that I'm like, I respect that, bro. That's pro to me. That's pro to me. I'm just saying, 1,000 nits, 1,600 at peak, 1,000,001 contrast. Guys, this is dope. This tied with Thunderbolt, those are two major moves. Two major moves. And I know a lot of people are like, yo, Apple always goes after the accessories. They kept it the same footprint, so all your current accessories for the iPad Pro still work. Jeremy said, Pro is relative to what you do. This is Pro for most of my applications. I agree. You're with that. I'm with you. I think, though, too, at the same time, though, like, I think also when it comes to marketing is what I'm like, all right, like, oh, what's this, an iPhone Pro? Like, okay, cool. Like, well, okay. There's professionals out there on TikTok that create shit with an iPhone 12, a non-Pro, that connect, you know what I'm saying? Like it, but I agree with Jeremy saying it is varied for sure. Can you put how good this display is into perspective? It's really hard because eyes are like ears. Everybody's are tuned differently. I did production for music for a really long time, so I hear stuff that other people don't hear, right? Like, there's things that I'm like, oh, I hear, do you hear that? Like, what? I don't hear that. Like, you don't hear how tinny that sounds? Or I hear frequencies that are like really piercing, so I know how to go in places and remove them. Like, so there's things that eyes and ears are tuned to. You can have two people stand next to two different TVs and say, which one's better? And somebody will pick this one and somebody will pick this one. Like, it's so hard to say, hey, this is what this is. But from a film perspective, from people that do edits and color grade, you know, footage that they need the extra dynamic range, this is a big scenario. This is a big deal. Now, is this going to be their main production hub? No, right? But if you're using this as a field monitor for production workflow and you can get a real HDR signal out of this in broad daylight, that's dope. That's awesome. Like, that's kind of crazy. Matter of fact, let me see. Let me go to, I'm going to go to a company that makes monitors right now. We're going to go to Small HD right now. And we're going to check 4K monitors, right? Let's go to, that's cool, products, cool. 4K production monitors, let's do that. Actually, let's go to, no, let's not, let's do portables. Products, on-camera monitors, on-camera monitors. So Focus Pro OLED, okay? Let me see. What is the contrast ratio on this mop? I'm trying to see if it gives me contrast ratio on here. I know Jeremy's in the chat, so he's probably typing some things in right now, trying to give you guys an actual better idea what's going on. Jeremy said, agree, greatest second monitor when editing on a pair. Oh, bro. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. Like, understand, like, here's the crazy thing. Big Sur gives you the ability to use something called, what's the feature called? I'm going to go in here because it's called Sidecar. You can utilize your iPad as a monitor. Okay? I use it for my streams I'm going to be doing in my living room for my super reactions on my other channel, where I have my iMac, my Mac Mini, paired to my TV as my main monitor, but I need a second monitor out there, right? So I need a second monitor, but I don't want to bring a monitor out there and connect it to the Mac Mini. So I can wirelessly use that, connect it to my iPad, and bring OBS directly to my iPad as my second monitor and screen record my TV. Like, so it's really dope. But now you have this as a sidecar monitor that is also HDR compatible. Wild. That's crazy. It's so wild that this actually doesn't give me contrast ratio on their monitors. That's kind of weird. Let me see. I want to see if they give me anything else. See production. Let me just go to production monitors and see if there's on here. Okay. Here we go. You guys ready? Here we go. This is real, okay? This is now keep in mind, not all displays are created the same. Just because specs are specs does not mean they're all the same. People are like, oh, well, that's 4K. My 4K camera, I shoot 4K too. Not all 4K is the same on sensors. Let's be very clear. That's not what I'm saying. But let's get an idea, okay? This is a 22-inch reference monitor from Small HD. This is a movie reference monitor, okay, for people that shoot productions, okay? This is an OLED, okay? This is a 1,000,000:1 contrast ratio. 4K display, 21.6 inches. That's $12,000. $12,000. Okay? This supports 4K HDR. Obviously, this has tons of inputs and outputs for video and things like that. Now, this is what's going on here as well, right? Resolution, brightness. Guys, like this is crazy. Like what they're able to do with this display on an iPad. Okay? So this is obviously a 21-inch, so this would be more so focused around like the Pro Display XDR, which is a 6K monitor, a $6,000 monitor. But that's still half the price of this, and it's 27 or 32 inches, I believe. But just giving you guys context of what the actual technology looks like. But again, that's a very deep color accuracy debate, and all. There's so much stuff that goes into that. So I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole. But the iPad Pro is a crazy piece of kit. And you have the ability now to get it up to 2 terabytes of internal storage. That's wild. And the pricing is up there. I ain't gonna lie. I'm not gonna hold you. It's up there. But if you're wanting to use this as your only portable device, you're at a space where it's like, what do you need to do? Because if you need to do word processing, you could have done that 4 years ago on an iPad, no problem. I need Word. You have that. You got that already. Cool. What else do you need? You know what I'm saying? Like, what else besides that are people trying to use this for? But yeah, this is a great scenario to be in, I think. iPad Pro is fire. That is a fire product. I'm extremely excited about it. Obviously, the smaller one is dope, but I would go 12.9. I have a 12.9 now, so that's what I would probably stay in for myself. 5G, obviously, M1. We're going to be testing this and the iMac as well when these become available. So make sure you guys tune in because I will be covering these on the channel to see how they actually stack up. How do they stack up? How does, 2 generations ago iPad Pro stack up against an M1 iPad Pro? Devin said, hey, Adonis, you're great. Keep up the hard work. You deserve more audience. I appreciate you, bro. Thank you, man. But yeah, we also had the AirTags situation there as well. This is crazy too, by the way. This is Thunderbolt. This is USB-C 4. This is 40 gigabits a second. So that's pretty impressive. I'm just saying, it's pretty impressive. We hadn't have an update on the Apple Pencil either, so I wonder what that latency is going to be, if there is any. But besides that, I think that's kind of it as far as the major announcements at the event. Obviously, the AirTags are there. We have, obviously, the new color for the iPhone. It's a pretty color. And then we have the AirTags, which is really cool. If you're somebody like me that loses stuff, this is very useful. I like the fact that you can customize them. That's really cool. I dig that. You can add engraving. So you can actually engrave per AirTag, which is awesome. And it's $100 for 4. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. Tag it to things that are important to you so you don't lose them. Wallet. Your spouse. Bro, this is dope. Don't do it to your spouse. Don't do that. I'm putting this in their pocket so they know I know exactly where they are at all times. But yeah, this is interesting. I am curious about the accessories. The Hermes stuff I don't want to see how much expensive this is. I see how, what did I say? 500 low key. I mean, that's not bad though. Hermes, that's 350, bro. That's before tax. That's before tax. Rob and I are gonna get AirTags for all our gear, bro. What? You know how crazy that is, bro? Especially on set, and it locates it for you. It's almost like what's the? Oh my god, what is the technology that they came out with a while back that this is basically based off of? They put them in all the Apple stores too. God damn it. I keep forgetting the tech that it's called. It's, it's not the Bluetooth mesh. It's a, damn it. It's escaping me right now. But they look like little gems. Like little, like, I keep forgetting what they're called. Anyways, they install these in the Apple store. It was a piece of technology that spatial aware, it's a piece of technology. It's a not token. It's like on the tip of my tongue too. I want to say it starts with an L. I keep forgetting what it's called, but it's a specific name. But what it does is it allows a device to know where it is in a space. Right? Spatial awareness is like the general term, but the technology is called something. I keep forgetting what the technology is called. But essentially that's what it is. So if you go into an Apple store in the US and you bring your phone in there and you open the Apple Store app and you walk towards like the accessory wall, it'll let you know, hey, you're at the accessory wall. Here are things that it actually knows where you are in the store based on the app and the tags that are in the store. But I keep forgetting what the tag is called. It's annoying. But anyways, that's what it's kind of, it's not ultra wideband, no. This came out like 2014 when it first started becoming a thing. It's gonna drive me nuts. If I think of it, I'll put it as a pinned comment. But yeah, it's, oh man. Like in the HomePod Mini, I don't have a HomePod Mini, so I'm not really 100% sure, but it's, I keep forgetting what the technology is called. It's gonna drive me nuts, bro. It's actually gonna drive me absolutely insane. Let me see if I can find it, because I can't. I don't even know where to start. I'm not gonna do that. It's gonna take me forever. But it's not near field, but it's similar to something like that. Something like that. It's a particular word though, and I'm like, God damn it. It's not like NFC, but it's kind of like GPS, but it's based off of little nodes. But I keep forgetting what the nodes are called. But that's basically what this is like these little nodes that you place, and it's aware of how close or how far you are to them. Really cool. Really, really cool. But yeah, I want to see if there's any other, like, what are the other accessories for these that they're going to create? You know, can you stick them to things? Do they have like an adhesive back? You know, like that type of thing is curious. I'm curious about that. It's not LiDAR. LiDAR is it's a depth sensor. Yeah, it's gonna ruin me. Again, this was a long time ago, guys. So it may have evolved into something else, but the initial thing was something else. I keep forgetting what it was called, but neither here nor there. But yeah, man, guys, this has been amazing though. Cool little event. I know Apple shut me down a few times, which is kind of crazy. I was trying to do a live stream and it just kept shutting me down. So it is what it is. They're like, look, bro, you're streaming our stuff. And I'm like, look, bro, it's not, you ain't got no audio. And I'm just like, we'll get into that a whole other time. But if you guys haven't subscribed, smack the subscribe button. I'm going to be doing reviews on both of these, on primarily the iPad and the iMac. I will get the Apple TV. I'll probably just give you guys an update on that if I really like with it. But it's an Apple TV. It is what it's kind of self-explanatory. You get streaming stuff on it. it works well on your TV. I'll probably showcase setting up the display. But besides that, it's kind of straightforward. It's an Apple TV, right? Let's just keep it 1,000. It is what it is, right? So let me know what you guys want me to test as well on these devices. Are there specific things you want me to test on the iPad, on the iMac when they come in? I will probably be getting the base model of both because one, it'll be the easiest to get early, for sure. The easiest to get early. And then also the higher end stuff, again, it's just a time thing. You know, if I end up getting a custom built iMac, it's going to take forever to get to me. So we want to try to get things out as quickly as possible. That's just how YouTube works. And I'm not a huge tech YouTuber, so you know what I'm saying? I'm not going to be getting the early bag to test things out. But let me know your guys' thoughts on these things, man. Thank you guys for stopping by, bro. I'll leave this up so you guys can go back and recap with me. I appreciate you guys for tuning in. And we'll catch you guys on the next stream or video. All right, guys. See you later.